Well, hi, folks. I am going to do a power armor character for Sean Fannon's upcoming game. This is a character that he has played for years. He and I worked together way back in the day on Champions Master Control, and not Master Control, that was the name of the villain. High Tech Enemies was the name of the supplement. So I'm doing another power armor character, and it will be interesting to see if I can come up with something a little bit different. Now, this is a character that he's played for decades, so yeah, it needs all the gravitas and skill that I can possibly muster. Sort of a plasma using power character, and so I'm going to be really rough here in the beginning. And if I go quiet for a while, it's because I am concentrating. Um, so I know I'm going to do something a little bit different because I've been contracted to do two characters. This is Paladin, and the other one's Vega, and both of them tend to have outfits that hide their eyes. Like in Paladin's case, he has a full faceplate. So I want to. So I think I'm going to do like sort of a large head denoting the character's facial features, so we know what he looks like in a civilian ID as well. Now I wasn't contracted to do that. That's going to be something that I'm doing for free on my own. Um, I've already got some reference that Sean has sent me from various picks before. Um, I think the one with yellow was done by Albert Deschaney, and that was one of the first iterations of him. Sean said he's quite partial to that one, so I think sort of a dark black or dark blue and silver kind of color. I kind of like this reference here, and then I've got sort of a headshot that I'm going to use. Uh, the character is much older than this model is. The character looks like he's 40, although he is like 70 because of, I guess, time warp accidents and stuff like that. So I got to think of like a pose first. Like, what am I going to do to make Paladin feel different? And yeah, I think you know I like the idea that he's sort of this plasma using character, and this is sort of how I start, kind of scribbly, and I think I'm going to try to show off. Now he's supposed to be sort of very, very athletic and muscular and stuff like that, and often flying. So can I somehow utilize that? Um, do I want to do? One of the things that is important. Excuse me while I take a drink. When you're showing this is because this is sort of like the first time the audience has ever seen the character. I can't do a tremendous amount of foreshortening, um, but I can do some. And the reason I can't do a tremendous amount of foreshortening is because we need to kind of see the character. Mostly, it's in its entirety. I don't want to hide um, things, and so right now I'm kind of working on a down angle, and I don't think I like that because I don't feel like that's very heroic. I mean, if you go with a down angle, you're suggesting loneliness and alienation and stuff like that. I bet you didn't know that, or maybe you did. Um, you know, because the observer has a lot of power. But if you do an up angle, that feels very heroic. So yeah, let's see if I can maybe and this character is named Paladin. So I mean, I've got to come up with something that is really heroic looking. I mean, I think that's a big deal, and this already is starting to feel a little bit better. You know, because this is a Twitch stream and I am recording this for my YouTube, so if you do see it on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I would like to do more of this. I'd like to bring these opportunities for other students. Um, other art, young artists and stuff like that. And the more you guys do that, the more opportunity I have to do that. And so I think I'm already liking this a lot more. This kind of shape. Um, I'm hiding a little bit of his left leg here behind the thigh that's coming out and stuff like that. But we see the other leg, most of the other leg. So you know, I think that's okay. Oops, I didn't like that line. There we go. So also, can we do something maybe with? Yeah, can do a little bit more foreshortening there. Again, I don't mind foreshortening a limb because I have the other arm to kind of suggest what the arm looks like, and we sort of expect some symmetry in what we're portraying. I'm just going to erase this. I have my eraser set to soft instead of hard, so it doesn't erase everything at once. But I think I kind of digging that. One of the wonderful things about doing stuff like this is I get to move it around, and I don't have to get a little bit of an S curve in there. I think that's much more interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like this sort of flying up to the sky. Feels heroic. Um, then one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the opacity of this way down, have another layer on top of it, and then I can start to think about, like, I like the headpiece there that the reference already has. So, this will be sort of my preliminary pencils, and I'll probably stop at the preliminary pencil and submit it to my client to see if they like it. So, mm, I want to go back and take a look at Albert Deschamps' headpiece there. Okay, that's really simple. Nothing wrong with simple. I'm just absolutely nothing wrong with simple. That was not a put down at all. Um, just I wanted to take a look at it. Um, and one thing I didn't realize is that this character was related to the character I ended up doing for Master Control. So what I want to do is I want to see if I can find some elements from Master Control that I drew so many years ago, and see if I can't bring that over. Uh, uh, uh. Sorry, I'm looking on the internet for high tech enemies and just finding it here. So saving it. And then I can import it. So there we go. That's what I did many years ago. So I think the asymmetrical sort of radar ear, or whatever you want to call it, is kind of interesting. I like the shoulder pads, but I think this is super highly detailed and more detailed than I think I want to do for Paladin, because I think Paladin needs to be slicker. So there isn't a whole lot there to grab from. I mean, unless I can work the ears in there a little bit. But I mean, not only do I have to be a superhero artist, but I have to be a mecha artist when I'm doing this as well. And I like drawing mecha, but I am not the um, like the expert on that. That other people, it's not what I've dedicated my career to doing. Let's put it that way. I love doing them occasionally, but I also like just doing people. I kind of like the what what I think is interesting is this sort of rib cage section and chest section being separated. I don't know. That's intriguing. I wonder if I can do this in such a way that's um, different. Let me see what I was looking at before. That's very vague. It's black. I can barely tell what's happening there. That's just a chess piece. That's just a chess piece. There's another one here. Oh, that's just a profile shot. So, hmm, not loving that at the moment. I mean, the other thing is we have to, avoid too much comparison to Iron Man, even though Iron Man is like the poster child for this kind of archetype. Um, yeah, I'm not digging that. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Oops, I have the wrong. I want to keep the forms rounded. I don't want to. Hi, at this point, my camera stopped working, and when it came back on, unbeknownst to me, the sound was going through the camera, my USB camera, and not through the headset that you see me wearing. And so the sound quality went to just total garbage. So the rest of this video will be time lapsed, and I will narrate it. So as you can see, I'm sort of trying to work on the forms here a little bit and get that shield in. Um, I ended up not going with that shape. I think I change it. Um, Doing a power suit in movement and not just being really static and stoic is a really difficult thing to do, and I'm trying my best to kind of make it heroic and make it have movement and have that nice subtle S curve in there. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle on this one, and I think that's an important thing. I think seeing me flail around will give any young artist some hope, that they too are going to have days where things just don't quite work, and you got to keep pushing through it. Now I've been doing art long enough that when I get to those points where I feel like I've hit a wall a little bit, I know if I can keep pushing for another 20 minutes that usually the wall will break. And then that's when the good stuff really starts to happen. A lot of times you have to just kind of toss out the cliches and you know, get the really standard stuff out of the way, and especially when you're doing superheroes, because there's so much that has been done, and there's such a sophisticated lexicon of iconography out there already, and there's nothing new under the sun. So can you mix the elements up enough to make it new? Um, and I'm going to really struggle with these legs for a while, and I'm just going to keep beating my head against those legs until I get it right. Um, you know, and sometimes it's just better to erase stuff and start again. Um, one of the things that I've struggled with here is just getting it right. So I do want to talk about hands. So I don't always draw the fingers first. So I drew the sort of the palm as if the fingers did not exist. So this here becomes a square shape, right, in 3 dimensions. So there's a bottom part and there's a top part, and I just sort of square it off, and that's where I start to draw the fingers from in order to deal with that. Mike Carlin, who was the editor of Superman when I met him, and I think he became vice president and maybe even president of DC Comics. I can't remember if he became president. He once told me, "There's no excuse for drawing a bad hand. You have two of them in front of you at all times, Storm." And I always thought that was great advice. He was a man who really shaped a lot of my career, even though I never really went into comics in a strong way. His advice and his guidance um, really propelled me and pushed me to keep working on it. So here we go, and on the legs again, and I'm playing around. And one of the nice things about digital is that you can do this. I can make that whole section bigger. I can make it smaller. I can rotate it around. What it won't do for me is draw the damn thing in perspective. So I got rid of it. I'm going to redraw it. And here's my attempt. And so yeah, I want a little bit more movement. I'm playing around, and yeah, eventually I think I get rid of both legs. And that little weird swoop was from when I was talking on. Yep, see, I got rid of them both. I went back to the lower level, and yeah, I like that shape for the sort of the stomach centerpiece a lot better. I think it's a little bit more dynamic, and so I tried. Can I put the other knee forward, his right knee coming forward, and then I sort of figured out what I wanted to do, which was I wanted to put the calf on the right side, his right side, so our left side of his left thigh. So there it is. There's the calf, and now I think that feels a little bit more organic, and so there's a crossing there. I hate the tangent, so I've got to figure out a way of, like, can I draw it in such a way that the tangent doesn't happen. Tangents is when you have two shapes, two lines that come so close together, and that draws your eyes to the tangent. And in a place that you probably don't want it. So sometimes you actually want tangents if you want to really, focus a person's eyeballs on that. So yeah, I decided to tip the excuse me, a little tickle in the back of my throat, the whole torso a little bit, because I think that that gives it a little bit more dynamicism, and I think we're starting to see what will end up being the final piece. I decided to go with sort of a very subtle knee construction in terms of the mechanics because I just thought it was a little sleeker and a little different. And like you look at the reference that's provided, the knee shapes are really strong and bulky and stuff like that. And nothing wrong with that. I've done that kind of knee stuff many times, and but there's something to be said for trying to keep this modern iteration of a character who's been around since the 70s in the game. Try to keep his suit looking modern, so I wanted more sleek and less, I mean, think of Iron Man, the difference between the gray sort of stove uh wooden stove looking kind of thing to the sleek armors that we eventually see him in. I mean, Iron Man's armor is always evolving because every artist needs to draw him a little bit different because it's really hard to uh draw these characters in multiple panels, panel after panel, without simplifying and really thinking about how every line works from every angle. So, um, again, I'm kind of playing around with the foot placement. I'm trying to get the S curve, which now is going to be really compressed because of that calf going back in space. Like, how can I get that to feel right? And I think that's getting pretty close. The one problem I see, and I think I tackle it, is the Paladin's right leg is too short here. Even though, because those two legs are almost equal distance in height, so the shin needs to be shorter than the thigh because the thigh is closer to the camera. And yeah, so just keep working and see, that's just not looking right. That looks kind of stupid. I come back and fix that. So yeah, I make the leg a little bit bigger, and I move that leg up a little bit more to the hip. I let them overlap a little bit. I clean it up. This is the wonders of working digitally. I get rid of that lower layer so we can kind of see what the hell I'm doing. Um, and again, remember, this is a preliminary pencil. This is not the end all be all, but we're getting a little closer. Um, Wanted to move that leg a little bit. I'm moving the whole figure over because I wanted to draw um, a head showing Colin Montgomery's eyes, who's the pilot of the suit, and he has silver eyes, sort of infected by cybernetics or whatever. So I think that's a really cool visual, and I wanted to us to be able to see that, despite the fact he has a faceplate and we can't see it. And I think that was mentioned in the Twitch stream, but I thought I'd just reiterate it here. I'm using some reference, but the model is way too young looking. Colin is 60 something, and he's supposed to look 40 something. He's been through wormholes and time dilation and stuff like that. I kind of went with a race band and haircut. I think that's going to be white, and but I just want to kind of ghost it in there. I don't want it to be in there super super strong. Love the warp tool. That was me using the warp tool from Clip Studio. I lighten it up a little bit, and that way I then start another layer and I start to clean up my initial sketch. I don't mind this one being a little bit more not loosey goosey, but this one's the background's going to be painterly. I'm not going to finish the head in a comic book styling, so it's not going to have the black line and then color inside of it. It's all going to be painted and sort of fade into white as we move towards the armored figure in front of them. So you'll see me get a little bit more painterly in this one. I got rid of the layer below. I didn't get rid of it, but I just simply unselected its visual thing, and I'm trying to get a little bit of that, like, yeah, this is a guy who's seen some stuff, and he's got creases in his face. He's got, but at the same time, every line that you put down on a face will age that face. So you've got to be very careful about how many lines you put down, especially on women, but even on men too. So and then I'm using the blur tool a bit here. I'll lay down a chunk of value, and then, I mean, this technique is what I'm doing right now is very similar to a technique I would do with ad markers, and that's just really a quick, simple technique to get a lot of shape down, some value down, and then that allows you to come along later. And so I just darken up the figure a little bit, and yeah, so there we go. So, I mean, if you like this kind of thing and want to see more of it, please consider subscribing. Please hit the like button. That helps me out. I'd like to keep this going. I want to, help other young artists out and keep this happening. And if you have any questions, would love to hear them. If you have any comments, would love to hear them. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. And until next time, keep on keeping on. And oh, by the way, we will have a part 2. I will colorize this. I'll tape that. Whether that's going to be on Twitch, if I can figure out how to fix my Twitch issues, I will do so. Or I might just do it. I'll just tape it straight to my computer and do a time lapse. So, anyways, thank you very much. Have a good one.